Zewura Dramani Mahama Iddrisu no appointment. It's a face the appointment committee. More vetting so say I say na. I want you back with to guy Haruna Iddrisu, the former minority leader of parliament. But you just say the na share a education sector and as education ministry on them na Allotey course. About Bonti abe reveal some diamond a year. I'm making some revelations. We are you drink one yes or say they or say a year. You are John Dramani Mahama in Haruna Iddrisu political ambition. Or the name area say and to the say education sector or say education sector on a juma way pant oba. That's one to me and be deliver. That is a Ghana for one from Ghana for as a Ghana for empenance will be. The trap upon the year you are John Dramani Mahama assume a Haruna Iddrisu the bear. Wohwe ne yie pa cause ehon mo no beka ya time and you are don Dramani Mahama di kan ba he no teacher training allowance is baby ho no ma be yi ni na edifri ho no so sisi ana wa ba no nema mu asesa kakra na de dan kwa kufa Dubai no be twetwe asesi kan ni na don Dramani Mahama second come we die nema mu aye din tina ode Haruna Iddrisu akwa se be ya eningu ase ebeka Haruna Iddrisu ntina you are don Dramani Mahama edino akwakusi education ministry one na munche mu de be kwanya akwakuti efre ensama Allotey course editu no na yes so subscribe ya subscribe like and share na ma afufu ho media yi e channel we so ti e be kwanya akwakuti Allotey course ensama editu no edamase.
Mr. Speaker, I can see the incoming majority leader and his deputy conferring. And I've just also heard those of us in opposition, we know more things than those of you in government. So if you ask me, I can tell you, all of you, where you are going, but you don't know. That is how it is. When I know Ama Kofibua is going to land, yeah, you are going to land. Are you scared? Nobody will stop it. If destiny has it for you, you get it. Why are you scared? Kwame Abuja is going to roads and highways. Yeah, we know Ahmed Ibrahim is going to local government. And a lot of you will remain at the back bench.
Honorable leader. Honorable minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Achampo, Mr. Speaker, he has done so well. Yes. I will be surprised if he's not sent to the Ministry of Finance as deputy. I will be surprised. Yes. I will be surprised. And Dr. Park is definitely going to education as deputy education minister. Mr. Speaker, we know. That's why I know Honorable Ayariga is going to assume the black chair. And his deputy is my good friend Kweku Rickett. Because yes, Kweku is going to be the deputy minority leader. And Mr. Speaker, once again, majority of them will remain at the back bench.
Honorable minority leader.
Anyway, Mr. Speaker,
the issue before the House is whether the adjournment should be on the 16th or 21st.
That is so.
With all due respect.
Mr. Speaker, my good friend Honorable Abuja, he knows the practice of the House. You can't just come to the floor to make an announcement. You know it. You normally engage. Now you see, Agboja, you see. Mr. Speaker, Agboja today is begging me. Mr. Speaker, Agboja is begging. Mr. Speaker, the firm put the incoming chief whip. You see, you are coming. We know you are coming. Mr. Speaker, Kwame is begging me. What he did to me when I was there, Agboja Panye. Mr. Speaker, time changes. I won't do that to him because I know 2020 now I will be there. So, Mr. Speaker, I will be magnanimous. I will oblige him. Consult me. I will oblige him.
Honorable minority leader, did I hear you say 2039?
No, Mr. Speaker. I love that. Mr. Speaker, where you are, you cannot join the debate. Mr. Speaker, I said, Mr. Speaker, I said 2029.
Haruna on one side, Johnson Asiedu Nketia on the other side, and President Mahama in somewhere. When Iddrisu Haruna was removed from Parliament, and Pl0t described it on Good Morning Ghana as a very strange thing to happen. The removal of Iddrisu Haruna, he described it as very, very strange. He said it here on Good Morning Ghana. And it was thought that there was some issue between President Mahama and Iddrisu Haruna or Asiedu Nketia. But President Mahama visited Iddrisu Haruna in Tamale, and the photographs were shown, and NDC communication was in a hurry to show those photographs because it was indicating, it was helping them to show that there's no problem between the two. Now, those who are speculating the problem are stoking the fires tonight. They are stoking the fires because they say that Iddrisu Haruna's appointment as Minister of Education is in keeping with President Mahama entrapping Haruna Iddrisu so that he doesn't rise up to become presidential candidate of the NDC. See what Allotey put up. Let's read it. Let's read it and then we can get into the speculation. Okay, so Allotey put up a post and said, I was informed, those of you who don't know who Allotey is, he's a former member of the NDC, a principal actor in the Professor Mills administration. He was on the ECG board, and it's speculated that he sort of marooned his way through the ECG board because he was very close to Professor Mills at that time, Allotey. Since Professor Mills passed, both he and Koko Anyido have followed go about how John Mahama plans to use you, Haruna Iddrisu, to cancel free SHS, nursing and teacher training allowances, and teachers' professional allowances just to jeopardize your presidential ambition. Ever since you disagreed with the executives of your NDC party not to campaign on the grounds that Ghana doesn't need a Muslim president, you and Honorable Muntaka have been tagged and stigmatized hugely within the party. For the sake of your presidential ambition, of which John Bull knows, he accepted this proposal of appointing you as the education minister, which was proposed by the executive of the party. Free SHS cancellation was a big threat to your party's campaign, but they were miser to campaign on maintaining its implementation, of which you and I know won't happen. Nana has always been against the payment of nursing and teacher training allowance. This current government wouldn't hesitate to cancel it within 6 months of being in office. Be strong, be bold, and publicly condemn any attempt to make you unpopular by resisting their attempts to cancel free SHS, nursing training and teacher training allowances, and the famous professional teachers allowance and data allowance. Don't fall for the hashtag something agenda. So viewers, this is what we'll be doing for a while. As political journalists, you are very used to this, and it's quite exciting. Now, this is Allotey. I don't know how close Allotey is to Iddrisu Haruna. I don't know whether he wrote this letter publicly because he doesn't have a relationship with him to get him to see it, or maybe he has sent it to him and he's also sending it public. But this is something food for thought that we're going to look at as Iddrisu Haruna mounts the chair for the vetting. That will be the most interesting vetting, because the big question is going to come where is free SHS? That's a big question that's going to come to Iddrisu Haruna. Have the food stuffs got to the students? I've seen pictures on social media where they say that the buffer stock, the food that they got that was coming in for some farming is now going to free SHS. I've seen that on social media. So ACP Agozo, who also holds a PhD, was acquitted and discharged by the court in the treason trial. Now, he is writing something about the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Ekufu Dampare. Let's have a look at it. Get me back the Kofi Boakye thing again. And we have not talked about Kofi Boakye, have we? Kofi Boakye's appointment has come out, hasn't it? It has come out, and he's been appointed as the Director of Operations at the Presidency. So you get me the Kofi Boakye cartoon, and then we'll go to So congratulations to our friend COP Kofi Boakye. Kofi Boakye has been appointed as a director of operations. We were speculating that he will be going to Interior as minister, but it turned out that under the new rules, as it were, COP Kofi Boakye will remain at the presidency, remain with President Mahama at the presidency. They are very good friends, we know that already. And so they remain at the presidency, and he's there as director of operations. And Ekufu Dampare's fate is yet to be determined, but whilst we are waiting for that, ACP Agozo put something out. Let's see it. So he says, Benjamin Agozo writes, the elevation of DCOP Abdul Usman Razak as National Security Coordinator exposes the hypocrisy, pettiness, and lack of integrity of IGP Dampare. Let's read. The recent appointments by DCOP Abdul Usman Razak, a serving police officer, as the National Security Coordinator has sparked a lot of discussion among commentators. Among others, some commentators were wondering how DCOP Razak, who remained on his rank for 8 good years without promotion by IGP Dampare, could be identified by President Mahama and elevated to such high and esteemed position. Okay, it is important for readers to appreciate that DCOP Razak, a number of his colleagues, remained on the rank of ACP from 2017 till January 2025. It is also instructive to note that within this period, IGP Dampare promoted some course-mates of DCOP Razak and DCOP Razak and left DC. He promoted some course-mates of DCOP Razak and left DCOP Razak and others out. Asked about why he left other course-mates, including DCOP Razak, out, IGP Dampare is on record to have said that DCOP Razak and his other colleagues could not be promoted because of issues of incompetence, integrity, and vacancy. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. IGP Dampare is on record to have said that DCOP Razak and his other colleagues could not be promoted because of issues of incompetence, integrity, and vacancy. Implied in the above is the fact that DCOP Razak and his colleagues are incompetent and lack integrity and hence could not be promoted. While IGP Dampare raised issues of vacancy as one of the reasons why DCOP Razak and his colleagues could not be promoted, the same Dampare has promoted countless number of juniors of DCOP Razak and his colleagues above their seniors. In one particular instance, one police officer who was a superintendent at the time DCOP and his colleagues were ACPs has been promoted within the period to chief superintendent, ACP, and now DCOP in 2024. Meanwhile, I think the 2025 that I read earlier should have read 2024. Okay. Meanwhile, all the earlier promotions and denial of promotions under IGP Dampare have occurred without assessment committees and appointments and promotions board as required by section 37(1) of CI 76. Interestingly, the same IGP Dampare quietly promoted ACP Razak to the rank of DCOP after 7th January 2025. Oh, I see. That's where it happened. Apparently, after learning that DCOP Razak was scheduled for a top appointment. Oh, this is interesting. Is that the end of the story? So that's the story. DCOP Razak here, DCOP Agozo is telling us what he describes as the hypocrisy of Dr. Ekufu Dampare. That Ekufu Dampare refused to promote DCOP Razak, who is now been made, give me Razak's photograph, who is now been appointed by President Mahama as a National Security Coordinator. That he refused to appoint Razak because he said Razak was incompetent and he lacked integrity. And then in January 2024, this the 2025 January here, he sees that perhaps Razak is working with the new government, and so he quickly appoints him as a DCOP. But Agozo is pointing out the hypocrisy of Ekufu Dampare. All right, we'll keep that story and see how it's going and see how the IGP's appointment will end up. But that left hook from Kofi Boakye to Dan Paris face appears is still there. He hasn't pulled it back. And guess who is still enjoying it? Owusu Bempah. We'll get to the details a bit later on. Okay. All right. Whilst at it, we'll be talking about A+ in a minute. But now, let's go to the text message and take some